You think you need millions to invest in real estate? That belief alone might be the exact reason you'll stay broke. Because what I'm about to show you isn't what gurus sell, it's what actually works when you're starting with almost nothing. And the twist? My very first property didn't require a huge bank balance, but it did require one decision most people are too scared to make. I still remember staring at my bank account. It wasn't impressive. No 6 figures. No rich parents. Just a regular paycheck that barely stretched to the end of the month. And yet, I was obsessed with one idea: owning property. Not for luxury. Not for status. But for freedom. Because here's the truth most people ignore: saving money alone will not make you rich. Inflation quietly eats it alive. Every year, your cash loses value while real estate owners get richer without doing anything extraordinary. That's the first hidden truth. But what most people don't realize is, real estate doesn't start with money. It starts with strategy. So instead of waiting to feel ready, I did something different. I stopped thinking like a buyer, and started thinking like an investor. That shift changed everything. At the time, I had just enough savings to cover a small emergency fund. That's it. No big down payment sitting around. And this is where most people quit. They assume they're locked out of the game. But I asked a better question: how can I control property without owning it outright? That question led me to my first breakthrough: leverage. Leverage is the secret weapon of real estate. It's using other people's money to build your wealth. Banks, partners, even sellers themselves. The wealthy don't always use their own cash, they use access. So I started researching low down payment options. Government-backed loans. First-time buyer programs. Creative financing. And what I discovered shocked me: some properties required as little as 5% down. In some cases, even less. Now here's where it gets interesting. Even that small percentage felt like a lot to me. So I went one step further. I combined strategies. I found a modest property. Nothing fancy. In fact, most people ignored it. Slightly outdated. Needed small repairs. But it was in a decent area with strong rental demand. That's key. Because beginners often make this mistake: they chase perfect properties instead of profitable ones. And this is where psychology kicks in. We're wired to avoid things that look ugly or risky. But in real estate, those are often the exact opportunities that create wealth. I wasn't buying a dream home. I was buying a cash flow machine. So I made my move. I used a low down payment loan, and here's the part nobody talks about: I rented out part of the property immediately. This strategy is called house hacking. And it changed everything. Instead of paying my full mortgage, my tenants covered most of it. I was living almost for free. Think about that. While my friends were paying rent every month, I was building equity. My property was appreciating. And someone else was helping me pay it off. But here's the part most people underestimate: the emotional side. The fear before buying was intense. What if something goes wrong? What if I can't find tenants? What if I lose money? That fear stops 90% of people. But what most don't realize is, the bigger risk is doing nothing. Because while you wait, prices go up. Opportunities disappear. And you stay stuck in the same financial position year after year. Now, was it perfect? Not even close. There were repairs. Unexpected costs. A tenant who paid late. Moments where I questioned everything. But every problem came with a lesson. And every lesson made me a better investor. Here's another hidden truth: your first deal is not about profit. It's about education. Most beginners obsess over making money immediately. But the real win is learning the system. Understanding the process. Building confidence. Because once you do it once, everything becomes easier. After my first property, I wasn't the same person anymore. I understood financing. I knew how to analyze deals. I had proof that it worked. And that confidence? That's what unlocked the next opportunity. Now let me give you something practical. If you're starting with little money, focus on 3 things. First, cash flow over appearance. A property that looks average but pays you every month is better than a beautiful one that drains your wallet. Second, location matters more than the building. You can fix a property. You cannot fix a bad area. Third, think creatively. Partnerships. Renting rooms. Negotiating with sellers. There are always options if you look for them. But here's the part one promised at the beginning, the decision most people avoid. Taking action before you feel ready. Because the truth is, you will never feel ready. There will always be uncertainty. Always a reason to wait. But waiting is expensive. My first property didn't make me rich overnight. But it did something far more powerful, it changed my trajectory. It turned me from someone who worked for money, into someone who made money work for me. And if you've been thinking about real estate but keep telling yourself, I don't have enough money, now you know the real problem isn't money. It's hesitation. And once you break that, everything changes.